Final mock draft for the 2022 NFL season for my channel, and so I'm excited to finally bring this to you as it's draft eve, and I can actually talk about real picks after this video, talk about really what's going on for our Detroit Lions, and no more mocks and thoughts. We get to actually look into it. In this mock draft, it's what I think the Detroit Lions are going to do. I'll talk about each pick. This one's tough because I tell you what, Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell are not the easiest guys to read. But before we get into today's video, if you think it's a smart and sound idea to go up to a downed power line, take the power line and put your teeth on it, go ahead and subscribe to my channel because we talk all things Detroit Lions news and rumors. Sometimes being a Lions fan, you can get electrified. Also, make sure you take that like button with you, put it in a puddle of water where that downed power line is at. Let's get into today's final 2022 NFL Detroit Lions mock draft. What a pain in the A mock draft this is. Generally, I have an idea who can be where, specifically in the first round, and obviously when you look at the Lions' needs, it's all around. But it's a weird draft because there's no bona fide number one out there that you know who the team is going to pick. Jacksonville Jaguars right now, they're confused. Their GM wants one player, their head coach wants another player, and their owner wants another. So who's going to win the battle? The Detroit Lions, I feel they would be happy with either two players, Aidan Hutchinson or Kayvon Thibodeaux. I think it's 51-49. And with the second pick in the 2022 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select Aidan Hutchinson from Michigan. He is a werewolf upon this defensive line. He gets after the quarterback. He is a guy that's a mauler and a brawler. He's a high-end motor, exactly what Dan Campbell wants. He wants players that will play and be dogs for his defense. We look at his stats last year, 36 solo tackles, 14 sacks. Nice. 2 forced fumbles, 0 interceptions. I think he'd be fitting perfect for Lions defensive line. I do. And we need a name on defense. We need a guy that scares offenses. We've not had that in some time. Is Aidan Hutchinson the best prospect? And we've seen in a long time, absolutely not. That's not the case at all. But in this draft, he is the best player, I think, for Dan Campbell and what they're trying to do here. They could definitely go Kayvon Thibodeaux if he's available or if Aidan gets picked with the first pick. No doubt about it. You know, that is an absolute possibility. Again, like I said, 49-51. But the Lions take Aidan Hutchinson because he is available. Let me know in the comment section below, what player would you pick at 2 if both of these individuals are available? Would you select Kayvon Thibodeaux or Aidan Hutchinson? It's simple. KT for Kayvon Thibodeaux, AH for Aidan Hutchinson. Let me know in the comment section below, who would you pick if they're sitting at 2? Nakobe Dean, linebacker out of Georgia. He came in for a pre-draft visit. Devin Lloyd may be the only other linebacker taken before him. Now, we looked at Quay Walker as well, but I like the production that Dean brings. Now, he's not the biggest guy in the world, but that's okay because his production is very good. Sideline to sideline, he will elevate the linebacking core for the Detroit Lions. Last year, 36 solo tackles, 6 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 2 interceptions. We haven't had a good linebacker on this team, a young one, in some time, and it would benefit the Detroit Lions to get one here. Now, again, if Dean's gone, they could go Trayvon Walker, or they could go safety, just depending who's available. A lot of good safeties, so look out for those individuals right there. Now, pick 34, the next pick. I went back and forth on who this is going to be. Could this be a safety? Could this be a wide receiver? I ultimately went with wide receiver because we signed a safety right before the NFL draft. We do get a safety in this draft, but I think we go Christian Watson, wide receiver here. We need to get help on the edge. You already heard it from Amon-Ra St. Brown talking about we need to get a bigger wide receiver, and I think for our offense to really click, we get one more wide receiver, and we can do that. And I tell you what, Christian Watson is a fantastic wide receiver. 43 receptions last year, 800 yards, 7 touchdown, average of 18.6. He's a big body, 6'4", can catch the football. To me, this would be a great pickup if the Detroit Lions are trying to get wide receiver. This would be the guy. There's a couple, one George Pickens too is available, just depending who's available. But wide receiver is a pick. The Detroit Lions make a trade for the next selection. So, in this trade, the Houston Texans come up to pick 66. The Detroit Lions move back to pick 80. And we get a 4th-round pick because currently we do not have a 4th-round pick. So, this is a good trade here. The Detroit Lions still have 2 3rd-round picks, but now we got a 4th-round pick. And with the next pick 80 in round 3, the Detroit Lions select a very good safety, and he's a ball hawk. That is Verone McKinley out of Oregon, 5'11". He's not the biggest guy in the world, but he plays big, folks. 44 solo tackles, 1 forced fumble, 6 interceptions, 6 pass defense. We have not had a ball hawk since Glover Quinn, and it's really important for the Detroit Lions to get a ball hawk safety to complement Tracy Walker. They definitely could go earlier. You know, like I said, they could go pick 32 or 34 to get their safety, but if they don't, there is a very good safety still sitting here for the Detroit Lions. And I think McKinley would help out in a big way. Trying to get to 400 likes in this video. So, while this ad is taking place, go ahead and smash that like button. It takes just a second. Hit it, and hey, this video gets pushed out there. Now, with the next pick in the 3rd round, 97, the Detroit Lions want to double up on a position of value here. How about Sam Williams, edge here, out of Ole Miss? He is an underrated guy here. Last year, 31 solo tackles, 12.5 sacks, 4 forced fumbles. He was sitting there. The Detroit Lions trying to get better on that defensive line. I think Sam Williams do a good job. He could definitely, from immediately, be going in and out of the lineup on defense for the Detroit Lions. So he's not just sitting back, not doing anything. You'll see him in packages, and I think that would help out big. We got a lot of good players so far in this year's draft, and I think Sam Williams could be a guy who could ultimately be a stud for Detroit. Next pick in the 4th round, because we made that trade, the Detroit Lions wanted to beef up the offense here, and they went Isaiah Likely, tight end, here out of Carolina. 6'4.5". He's 245. Look at his stats last year. 59 receptions, 912 yards, 12 touchdowns, 15.5 average. Now you say, we don't need a tight end. Well, yeah, we do. We definitely need a number 2 tight end. And to get a guy who right now is be opposite of Mr. Hutchinson, I think that'd be a great value for the Detroit Lions. You're going to see him starting. Well, not start, in and out of the lineup. You know how the Lions use their tight ends. But he would be a number 2 immediately. You have completed this offense, in my opinion. You got your wide receiver. You got your tight end. No excuses for Jared Goff. No excuses for Detroit Lions offense. We have the firepower to make plays. This guy could really help out the Detroit Lions, in my opinion. Now we're going to go to the 5th round, pick 177. The Lions been looking to get some corners, if you've noticed, and definitely I feel like they're looking for one here, and they like their bigger corners. So how about we go local here? Vincent Gray out of Michigan, 6'2", 192. Now, his stats is not the greatest thing in the world. We got 34 solo tackles, 1 forced fumble, but the pass defense is not bad at 7. And when you're looking at a guy to develop, again, we look at a Melifonwu, we look at other developmental players. I think having that big guy in there will really start to make the Detroit Lions defense a little bit scary. If there's injuries, I think Vincent Gray could do a decent job just this year itself. Look what Aaron Glenn has already done with the Lions secondary last year. Just imagine what they can do with more pieces. Also, you go to chatsports.com/linesbet. Tomorrow is the NFL draft. Bet on the draft. You can win some money, folks, and it's fun. It's like doing mock drafts, but you just put in a little bit of money to make some bets. It's BetUS. You put in the promo code LIONS125, 125% deposit bonus. Bet on it. Bet who's going to be the first pick. Bet who's going to be in the second pick. Hey, and when you do, let me know. With the next pick for the Detroit Lions in the 6th round, want to get better at the guard position. There's nothing wrong with that at all. So they wanted to go there. Moonford, guard from Ohio, 6'6", 328. We get a young developmental guard. Again, if there's injuries, we got a really good offensive line. But we've seen injuries before. I thought about tackle as well, thinking, man, maybe they could just go to the undrafted route. A lot of good players for the Lions. There's nothing wrong with beefing up, whether it be the offensive line or defensive line, in these late rounds to develop. They could be a backup ultimately, and to have a cheap backup for an offensive line, that's always a good thing in my opinion for sure. And finally, in this mock draft, I made a doozy here. The Detroit Lions select quarterback Akil Glass, 217. I was looking for a guy who can develop for a quarterback for the Detroit Lions. This guy, prototypical size. He's 6'4", 215. Yes, he wasn't at the biggest school in the world, but look at his stats here. It's not bad. 62.6 completion percentage, 3,568, 36 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. He's got some motor, folks. He's got some legs. I think, in all honesty, he could probably beat out David Blau instantly as number 3 and develop into a backup quarterback. I think this would be a good guy to have on the Detroit Lions as a backup quarterback, and I think that'd be really important for the Detroit Lions, in all honesty. Let me know in the comment section below. Grade this mock draft. A, B, C, D, or F. We got a lot of defense. We got some offense here, and I feel like this would be great. We got 2 edges. We got a linebacker, a safety, a cornerback. We got a backup guard, backup quarterback, a number 2 tight end, and a number 1 wide receiver. Let me know what you guys think of this mock draft. If you hate it, great. Let me know. If you love it, great. Let me know. This is kind of the route I think the Detroit Lions are going there, folks. So we're going to find out tomorrow. What's great about these things is, hey, no more talking about it is here. But make sure you guys hit that notification bell and hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so, and like button. Tomorrow, Lions Nation Unite live in studio. Make sure you guys go to the channel, subscribe. Also, the Gridiron Blitz live. We're doing it all here, folks. So with that said, folks, see y'all for the draft. Adios.